In this video, we will show you the dry pour concrete method, why millions of people are doing it, and why it's taking over. Mixing concrete the traditional way in wheelbarrows is back-breaking, difficult work. People are looking for an easier solution. We are also going to cut open the inside after 24 hours and do a moisture test and a strength test. We will be sharing with you the super secret water formula. Everybody's been asking for this. How much moisture and water do you add and at what time intervals? Often you will hear that dry pour concrete has ugly surface results. I'm going to test a brand new method. Dry pour is an easy concrete method where you can do it yourself. You don't need a helper. You don't have to work fast. You can go slow and take your time. The manufacturer says this slab has to exceed at least 2 inches. We have 3.5 inches. That's the 2x4. 4 inches traditional for walkways and light duty. As far as base, in most areas a well-drained sand is just fine. This is light duty work. This is for steps, shed bases, walkways, hobby slabs. Now, if you know you're in a wet area, go ahead and put a gravel base in first for well drainage. People will tell you you're lazy for doing dry pour method. I say you're just working smarter, not harder. These general purpose concrete bags are pre-mixed, economical. These are only $4 a bag for a 60-pound bag. That will be financially smart for anybody. The manufacturer says it's walkable in just 24 hours. We're going to do strength test and moisture test in 24 hours. It says full PSI strength achieved in 28 days. I don't have 28 days. All right, you're just going to push this around and fill in the voids. I'll show you the leveling process in a minute. I'm also going to try an experimental topper finish. I wanted a super smooth stone. In short notice, I only could find this kind of aggregate, but I think it's small enough it should work just fine. Okay, on to leveling. Really, all you need is any straight edge for this. It's not fancy. I'm going to use that 4-foot level. Also, if you've never worked with this before, extremely dusty, bad for your lungs. Wear a dust mask if you can. So in a saw pattern, you're going to go back and forth, and that will get you close to your flat slab. Another tip to make sure that the product will settle tight against your forms is to tap it. That can be with a 2x4, a hammer, anything. That will cause the concrete to settle in nice and tight, and you won't have so many air bubbles and gaps on your form. Now, if you have any low spots, you're just going to grab the extra material and feather it back into your low spots. Okay, if you pre-wet it like that, you probably will be unhappy with the final surface. This roller method, ordinary paintbrush roller, as we drag that across the surface, it's doing a couple things. It's pushing the stone and the aggregate back down into the concrete. It's bringing the kind of cream and powdery cement up to the surface. Now we're only going to do half of this because I want to try that new technique for the other half of the slab. So yeah, that does smooth it out somewhat. It won't be perfect. Okay, on to the finished stone. Now this is just going to be an experiment. It might be a disaster. I don't know the results. I want to get a good amount on there. Okay, I do want to set that in to the cement so when it gets wet, it will stay. We're going to take a little bit of leftover cement and sprinkle it, and that's hopefully going to interlock. So when we do the water, it will really bind it together. Now I know it's going to look like we're covering it up and look gray, but when we start with the water procedure, I think it'll make sense. All right, let's clear my tools and get on to the watering schedule. Okay, go ahead and pick yourself up a spray nozzle that has the option for mister. You want mister. Anything too heavy, the water will be pressurized and just blast all your work away. So you want a gentle mist for this first watering schedule. My editor will put on the screen the watering schedule that we found works best. It's an initial mist for the beginning. Come back in about 20 minutes, do a second misting, still very light, and then you could do that 2 to 3 sequences on the misting, and then in about an hour from the first misting, then start to soak it a little heavier. You're still not blasting it, but you're kind of flooding it. And we'll do a moisture test in the middle. Hopefully the water gets all the way around, even to the center. I think it can absorb from underneath. So we're going to get a little crust to form on there. So if you have too much pressure, it will destroy your work. I'm going to do more where the stone is. That's it, guys. Let that set. Come back in about 20 minutes and do the second mist. Okay, about 20 minutes, we're ready for the second misting. Now in direct sunlight like this, you will see the gray starts to lighten up, and that's how you know it needs more moisture. Go ahead and do the second And we just want to get a little bit of a crust to form before we come back with the flooding. So that's 20 minutes apart, 2 to 3 mistings as you see fit, and then go for the flooding, and we'll do 2 floodings. You don't want any water ponding up. Stop if you see water collecting. Still gentle, but we're going to get a lot of water on there. A little bit of ponding at this part is okay. And also, I get around the forms pretty good at this part because I believe the water and the moisture actually will wick up from the ground, and that's how it gets in the edges, and that's how it gets to the center. But we'll crack her open tomorrow and do some tests and see what we got. And I'm gonna switch to flooding and actually get the bottom. Okay, that's your first flooding. Wait 1 hour, come back and do a second and final flooding, and then you're good to go. We're gonna let it set for 24 hours. We'll strip the forms and come back and do some testing. Okay, it's the next day. It's been 24 hours and it's still delicate. Ah, just kidding. It's concrete, guys. It's hard as a rock. Okay, 24 hours. I feel safe to take these forms off. The surface has a little bit of a crust. You probably want to round over the edges anyways. Okay, now remember, depending on your use case, you might want to wait many more days. The manufacturer says full PSI strength in 28 days. I want to test it in just 1 day to see how we're doing. So here's the more traditional way to do it. This is a common complaint where the final surface is not attractive as some people want, but hey, this was a super easy method. Now the stone embedded here, there's a few loose ones here and there. Try sweeping that right off. I could have did a better job with that, should have embedded it much deeper, but I was pushing pretty hard with that 2x4. Also, there is that Miracle epoxy product for locking in landscaping stones. You could pour that and that would lock everything in. All right, I feel pretty good about the results so far. Super easy method that anybody can do themselves with no experience whatsoever. But let's check the hardness level. Let's run it over with my work truck. In just 24 hours, this concrete is rock solid. You could put a shed or anything you want on top of it. My truck is a full-size Toyota Tundra. I don't know how much it weighs, but it's a lot. Check that out. Let me ram it with a little more speed and see if I can get some destruction. Okay, now that I've convinced myself this is hard as a rock, let's do a moisture sample to make sure the moisture gets deep inside and underneath. That's a common complaint I've heard, that they believe there's no way that after the crust forms that the water will get underneath. I've set this to masonry concrete. Now on the surface, so in direct contact, we're reading about 80 to 90% moisture. So now let's figure out how to get down inside and test the moisture underneath. Okay, I got a chunk broken off here. The moisture meter still set to masonry concrete. Let's check the moisture on the underneath side. Okay, that's 100%. Now that's soil. There's a 90% reading, 89%. So far the top and the bottom, super high moisture. So I do think the moisture is getting all the way down. That's a little more crumbly than I would expected there. But again, it could have set up much, much longer. We did this in just 24 hours, which is a really quick, rapid turnaround. Okay, dry pour concrete, it's not for everybody. If you're not a pro, it's not for you, and this video is not for you. However, if you're a do-it-yourselfer and you need an easier way to deal with concrete small projects, this is it. Let me know if you have any comments or questions down below. I will respond to each and every one of you.